You're listening to Your Magical Midlife. This podcast is for women who are seekers, dreamers, and unconventional thinkers. If you're a Gen X woman who's always walked your own path, but now feel like you've lost your way, listen up. I'm Kate Higgins, your host. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and coach, and I'm here to guide you back to yourself and to help you reconnect with your joy, your passion, and your purpose. Midlife knocked me sideways. I was not prepared for all the challenges that piled up one by one. Everything in my life felt like it was imploding, including my health and my sense of self. By the time I hit 50, I was completely lost. But here's the good part. I'm finding my way, and so can you. I'll be dropping episodes every Thursday on everything from ambivalent aging, to body changes, to relationship shifts, to career challenges, financial fears, crazy family dynamics, and spiritual awakenings. Some weeks I'll be musing, some weeks I'll be ranting, and sometimes I'll have amazing guests who will share their expertise with you. Midlife brings a lot of change and a lot of challenges, but there's also so much magic to be uncovered. Let's dive in.
Kelly Stegmann doesn't predict futures. She helps you to create them. She's the founder of the Boho Witchery, an online community that helps people turn divine guidance into actionable steps, showing people how to make the mundane magical through simple ritual, spell, and intentions. She's also the creator of the Nebula, an online community and sacred space where members can explore all of this without judgment. Like the actual Nebula, where new stars are born, this community helps its members develop their personal magic and intuitive gifts.
So Kelly, tell everybody a little bit about you, what you do, who you are, and what your whole vibe is about.
Well, I started as a tarot reader. I've been reading tarot since my early teens, and I'm now in my mid-50s. And you know what? It was soon after the whole COVID crisis that my husband and I decided that neither one of us wanted to work for people anymore. We were tired of running on other people's treadmills, wanted to do my own thing. So I decided to start reading tarot professionally. And from there, my business has just grown, and I started a spiritual community because I found that so many people had questions, like all those curious dabblers who like their crystals and they like their cards, and they think they're into astrology and like to read their horoscope and all of that, but they had nowhere to go to really explore that. So I started a community called the Nebula, and people can come in and they can take the first steps on their spiritual path. They can experiment, they can learn, they can share, and just go from there. I like to hold their hands and help them get started.
That's amazing. I think so many people are seeking right now because the world is so uncertain. I think everyone is looking for something to make them feel stable, something to make them feel connected to other people. I think the more time we spend on devices during the lockdowns, the more isolated we are. I think people are really craving that. Are you finding that too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the things, the sense of community that we get, because while we all are walking our own paths and we all have our own magic and that sends us in our own directions, there's something about knowing that there's friendship and support and people you can lean on when you're unsure and uncertain. And I find that in all areas of my life, people are seeking out more community right now. Community with like-minded people, where they feel comfortable and where they feel safe and secure.
So tell me a little bit about it's called the Nebula, correct?
The Nebula, yeah.
Okay. So is it an online community? Is it an in-person community? Do you have elements of both?
It's a virtual community right now. Hopefully I have a 10-year plan, so hopefully we will open a physical center eventually. But right now we are virtual. So I have virtual office hours. I host it on a platform called Go Brunch. So people can pop in and out whenever they want. There are separate breakout rooms, so people can go to the Gratitude Center or the Resource Library. I have a virtual labyrinth, and I host 4 events every month: sacred circles, moon ceremonies, a workshop, and group divination. So that's all included in your membership. So you come in, you can talk to me if you want. If you want to explore on your own, you're free to do that too. And if you'd like to attend one of our events, that's included in your membership.
So tell me how, I know you said that you started reading tarot in your teens.
Yes.
So how did this develop? So you started with tarot. Tell me how you became a tarot reader, because everyone has a story.
So, you know what? It's the strangest thing. I don't really know. I have that original Rider-Waite deck. I just have always had. I don't actually remember how I got it. It just was always living in the bottom drawer of my nightstand, tied with this little piece of twine. I didn't have the guidebook, and it didn't have, a box. It didn't have anything with it. So I always had those cards, and I just kind of always remember, being like 13, 14, just playing with them. And somewhere along the lines, I must have gotten an old encyclopedia or something and learned what the meanings were. And as I got a little bit older and the internet came around, I did, study the history and the actual meanings of that original Rider-Waite deck.
Right.
And it just kind of evolved from there. I've always been intuitive, and I've always believed in magic. So that's the other thing. I wanted to be magic so badly when I was a little girl. And it wasn't until I was probably mid-20s when I realized that I was already magic and that everybody has their own magic. It's just a matter of learning to listen to your intuition and learning to live with intention and connecting with your higher self.
Yeah.
I think somewhere along the lines, all of that kind of blended together. And I was like, oh, this is what I do.
Right. I mean, I think, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the Northeast also?
Northeast. Yep. Northern New Jersey.
Okay. So in the 70s, it was sort of like a pop culture phenomenon to have, I remember I had do you remember Lois Duncan?
Yes.
Yeah. I had all the Lois Duncan books. Were all about like having being clairvoyant and clairaudient, where you can hear. Yeah. And it just seemed to be, there was Sabrina, right? And there was
Sabrina.
There was Beanie.
Yep. All of those reruns were on for us. And, I wanted it so badly. And then, like I said, somewhere along the lines, I realized, wait, I'm already doing this and I'm already tapping into that. And, I was using my intuition without realizing that I was using my intuition. I just always had gut feelings, or someone would be talking to me and I'd be like, that's not true. And, like things like that. And then I started to get a little more focused with it and study it a little bit more and, get more in touch with it. I found a couple of mentors along the way who showed me how to strengthen that and grow it and expand it. And now I like to do the same for other people.
So do you mentor other people along their own intuitive journey as part of your group?
I do private readings, but I am not offering private mentorship right now. Right now it's just in the group, but within that community, I do go into like breakout rooms privately, one-on-one with people. So if there's something you don't want to discuss and there's other people hanging around, we can talk about things privately too. But for right now, because the office hours, I offer them twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That seems to cover, what the membership is and what they're looking for right now.
Nice. So how do you grow this membership? What's your plan to like have your own magical corner on the internet?
Well, what I do right now, I am just starting my YouTube channel, and I'm on and off TikTok. I do try to post magical tips and information all the time. I'll remind you when it's the first of the month and you have to do that magic, or, if you have to pay attention to this particular full moon. And I'm on and off talking about all kinds of other things that are spiritual. So I post a lot on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm very active on Threads too. I find that Threads is a nice community for the spiritual world.
Did you grow up in a family that was intuitive?
Not that I know of.
Oh,
not that I know of. Nobody ever really talked about it. We were a very boring, average family, but my heritage is Irish and Italian. So, and I know going back, there were probably dabblers back in my family tree. I do find that my sisters are intuitive, even if they don't actually recognize it as such. And I have 3 children, and all 3 of them have gifts, even though none of them are actively exploring it right now.
So they're all like very intuitive, pretty psychic, even if we don't have used that word.
Exactly. One of them, electronics don't last too long around him because his energy, he just burns them out with doing nothing. It's like small, weird things like that. My daughter is a therapist. She's a licensed therapist. So I think her intuition helps her a lot in that field, as you are aware.
Yeah.
And my middle one, he just, he can he's a good judge of character.
I think, I want to actually expand on that a little bit, because I think that people a lot of people think that psychic abilities, intuition, spirituality, that's for like the woo-woo other people. But I think that everybody has ability.
Yes.
We all can tap in and tap into the collective consciousness and know things and trust things.
Yeah.
If you are aware of them. I don't think it's anything weird. And I used to say this to people when I was reading, because pretty soon after I learned to read, I started doing psychic fairs.
Okay.
And which is like, I'm going to be crass, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone who's listening. It's kind of like working in a whorehouse for psychic abilities. Like, you're just seeing person after person after person after person. And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But when people will be like, oh, I don't know about that woo-woo stuff, I'm like, I'm not actually doing anything that you can't do.
Yep.
I'm just allowing it in instead of blocking it out with what we call like rationalizations.
Yeah. Yeah, we let our minds get in the way. I honestly believe that every single person has those latent abilities, and they've just been tapped down. You'll hear people talk about how, like children and animals can talk to the spirit world. And as they get older, we discourage that kind of pretend play and imaginary friends with them. So all of our personal magic and our intuition, all of that it's suppressed from the very beginning. And I don't even think we consciously realize that we do it to children. And so we grow up thinking that we don't have any of these skills, but we all have it. Every single person has magic. Our personal magic is us. It's just finding it or recognizing it. It's always there, and learning to lean into your intuition and recognize when your intuition is nudging you in the right direction or the wrong direction. It'll let you know when something's not right for you too. Learning to do that is a skill that you can grow and use and explore further. So in my community, I do focus a lot on intuition, because I think that is the basis of everything.
Absolutely.
You start with intuition, you move on to intention, then you can manifest the life you want to create.
Absolutely. Why are we all so afraid of our innate intuition and our innate gut instincks? Like, why do you think? I mean, I know why I think, but why do you think?
I think,
Well,
I think there's a couple of reasons. I think for one, it was way back, it was a way to control people. Like, if you took away everybody's ability to know everything or sense everything or predict everything, then it was easier to control people. So I think there's that. And then I think the fear factor comes into it, because now that it's been suppressed for so many years, and, yes, there have been intuitive people and psychics, over that time. But right now that everybody's like with the internet and stuff, we're all becoming more aware of it. And we're all like, hey, I can do that too. The fear factor comes in, like fear of the spirit world and fear of the unknown and, what else could possibly be out there. So I think when you combine those two things, there is a hesitation. We were told it was wrong for so long. And on the other hand, you just have a fear of the unknown. It's,
yeah.
Very few brave souls walk into the dark cave with what's in there. You know what I mean? So
For sure. Like, think about the first person who ever waded into the ocean. How terrified they must have been.
Right?
Our ancestors, like thousands of years ago, someone was brave enough to go past, dipping their toe in. And maybe that's where we are with consciousness. Like, there are some of us now who are wading in
Yep.
and seeing what we're capable of.
Yep. And I think and I hope more people will wade in because, that maybe not teleportation is coming, but that whole telepathic communication, I think that's going to be, after we all awaken our intuition and start to use it, I think that's going to be our next, like the next level.
Do you think that there's a great awakening happening?
I do. I think it's a slow great awakening, and I don't think it's happening the way some people are portraying it with this huge, like, I don't know, this huge thing where we're all going to jump to the next level. I don't really know how it's going to happen, but I do think that the more people that get in touch with their clairaudience, their claircognizance, their clairsentience, the more people that get in touch with those senses that we've suppressed for so long, the greater it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know that it's going to be this total switch that
Exactly.
we're all in the 5D, like all of a sudden.
And that's what I mean. Like, I don't know how we're going to actually jump, but I do think that we're looking at one of those stages of evolution that will eventually be like one of those little ticks on the line that you get in history class. Like, here we had cavemen, and then now we have electricity, and eventually it's going to be like, this is where we remembered our intuition.
Right. Wouldn't that be amazing if we could all, I think it's scary to think of like everyone waking up at once, which is, I think that's not, it's happening, but the slow awakening is, I think that's why everyone is so on edge right now, because there's an awareness that the world is changing. Maybe we could shift it in a positive way and not in a negative way. We're recording this right after the election.
We are.
And this is not going to come out until 2025, 2020. Yeah, next year's 20. I'm like, that's not right.
Whoa. All right, the timeline continuum is a different conversation.
That is a totally different conversation. But I'm hoping, and I think that you're hopeful that we are shifting to something better, even in the wake of where a lot of people feel really let down, really disappointed, really in fear.
Yeah. Yeah, I think especially, because we are just a few days out from the election, the collective energy, not just in the United States, but worldwide, is it was heavy, but I kind of feel it shifting into like frantic and panic right now. And I think we need to not do anything, but take a breath, take care of yourself, regroup yourself first, and then you're able to help other people.
Right.
I think one of the things with the Great Awakening is going to be empathy. You are going to see the stark difference between people who have empathy and not being an empath and absorbing other people's energies, though that's part of it, but just being aware of how what you do, how it affects other people and how they feel about it. And you'll be able to sense that back. And once we all start communicating from a place of feelings instead of a place of desperation and wanting and needing and wanting to be the best, and we understand each other more on an emotional basis, I think that's when you're really going to start to see the shift happen.
Yeah. More collaboration, less.
Yes, collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk to me about, while we're on this subject, of when you are feeling activated, anxious, fearful, what are your favorite ways, or how do you help the people that you work with to ground themselves, to get back in the present, and to help keep their energy safe, keep themselves safe? Can you talk to that for a moment?
Yeah. Actually, I just held a sacred circle where we focused on calling our energy back and grounding and centering. And I do hold that one every few months. That'll come up again. So the first thing you want to do, is breathe. Breathing is the basis of everything, but really focus on letting the air come in and fill you from head to toe, and then exhaling. And if all you can do is breathe for a few minutes, then that's fine. But focus on that breath coming in and out. And from there, you can move into more of a grounding. And some people, they like to touch grass. You can go out barefoot outside, but you can hold a worry stone or a crystal in your hand. You can run your hands under cool water and, just let that sensation and get back in touch with water and the emotional flow from water. You could put your hands around a hot cup of coffee and just like focus on the sensations. So what you want to do is try to connect your panicky, anxious energy back into the ground, back into something natural so that the energy can flow instead of just like buzzing around you. Even just getting outside and letting the sunlight hit you, even if it's winter.
Right.
Just something like that to call yourself back to center. And if you can do that while you focus on the breathing, then you're going to be okay. Then you can move more into a little more of a magical practice of calling your energy back. So then you could start with your mantras, like just very simply, I call my energy back to me. I call it all back. I call it back from the people. I call it back from pets. I call it back from my job and from situations that I'm in, from wherever my energy is being spent. I call that all back to me. And you're not doing that to take anything away from anybody else. You're doing that just to regroup your own self, to get all that. And then, just again, continue to breathe, continue to focus on your heartbeat. You can put your hands on your heart. I just do that. Sometimes I make the big circles with my arms, I wave them up and I bring them down like I'm doing a standing jumping jack, just to move that energy around me. And from there, you can move into other things. So if you're at a desk and you can't do any of this stuff, one really easy thing I just throw in there, just take your palms and put them on your desk and press down and just really focus on the sensation of your hands on the desktop.
That's an easy grounding exercise you can do anywhere. Yeah, literally can put anywhere.
Yep.
You just find like a close, like solid surface.
I find that using my hands work better than like the whole, like put your feet on the ground and imagine roots. That doesn't work for me very well because sometimes I'm wearing shoes and I just can't like get into it like that. But I could put my hands on anything, on a stone wall, on a tree, anything.
Right. Right. You could even do it like if you were in a hallway waiting for a doctor's appointment, you could just put your hands on the walls behind you and just ground yourself.
Exactly.
Do you have a daily routine that you incorporate your spirituality and your magic in your day-to-day when you wake up? Like,
I do. I wake up and depending upon, who's got to go where, I eventually get 15 minutes. And if I'm working from home for the day, I'll light a candle. But if not, I usually draw a tarot card. I go through a gratitude practice. I try to write 10 things I'm grateful for every morning. I write them in my gratitude journal. I do a little bit of breath work, the breathing in, breathing out. I'm not a big fan of just sitting and meditating. That doesn't work for me. I'll do some more active meditation later on during the day. But I just do that. I come back to center. I think about what I'm grateful for. I write that down. I tap into my spirit guides a little bit. I'm like, hey guys, like anything I really need to know today. And I kind of use that in conjunction with the tarot card to see what my message is for the day, anything that I might have to pay special attention to. And then I'm on my way. So it really kind of only takes, I can have that practice last from 5 minutes because I can do it really quick. Like if we're traveling or, if I have a meeting or something, I got to get it done quick. But I could stretch that out and make that even take an hour, add a little bit of journaling to it, all that stuff.
Yeah, I have a similar practice. I write a quick little letter to my highest self, to God, whatever you want to call it, spirit, guides, whatever. And then I pull a card. And then by that time, it's usually because I've been sleeping in the last couple of weeks a little bit. And then by that time, I have to get in the shower. But at least I have that connection every day.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. In your community,
it's important to have something for you, even if it's not magical, whatever your morning routine is, if you can add a little bit of self-care to that morning routine. So whether it's setting an intention when you're stirring your coffee or, just thinking of 3 things you're grateful for as you drive to work, like have some kind of practice that's just for you and just for you and your soul and your spirit.
Absolutely. What's your favorite little spell for people? Do you have something that you absolutely love to do that's like gives you joy and fun, that's like simple?
I am big on candle magic. So when everybody told me anything, I'm always like, oh, let me light a candle for you. So if it's your birthday, I'm lighting like a yellow candle for joy. And if something bad is happening to you, I'll light a pink one or a white one to call in some hope. So I'm big on lighting candles for people. This probably comes from my Catholic background and being in church and lighting candles all the time. I do that. And then I do like to do like a little money mantra every time I either swipe my debit card or, I place an order online or I'm doing my bills. This is actually from Wiccan, and I am not Wiccan, but, I take it from there, and it's every dollar that I spend comes back to me 10 by 10.
Oh, I like that.
Something I kind of say in my head just as I'm spending money. Look at me. I'm spending money left and right.
But it's always coming back because money is energy.
Yes, money is energy.
There's an energetic component to money.
Yep.
And I think so many of us are so afraid, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, and I think this is why the election went the way it went, is that people are in a lot of fear around abundance, not having enough.
Yeah.
They're worried things are going to be taken from them. They're worried that things are going to get worse.
Yep.
So how can people lift themselves up and believe in abundance and use spirit and magic so they can use your money mantra? And what else can they do to feel safer?
Yeah.
Abundance is always flowing for them.
The core issue to that is not just how you're saying you feel or how you think you feel. It's that subconscious mindset that you have around money. So if you are, saying like, no, everything's going to be okay, but deep down you still have those fears, everything's not going to be okay because your vibration and what you're pulling in is that fear of not having enough. So the first thing you have to do is try to get into an abundant mindset, which, is a very flippant way for me to just say it. But it's starting to, I guess it really starts with gratitude again. Be grateful for what you do have. So if you were able to scrounge the money together to make your car payment, be grateful for that. Be grateful that you have a car. Be grateful that that car takes you places and that you can put gas in it. Start to be grateful for all of the tiny little things, and that will add up to bigger things. And then, try not to live from a place of lack. Again, easier said than done because you're always like, I want. But that wanting is telling the universe that you don't have enough. So again, you're back to like that space of lack instead of that space of abundance. So it's a little bit tricky. I think it's a little bit tricky. It's not as easy as just saying like, oh, I live an abundant life, because there's so many layers to it. It's more than just what the law of attraction tells you that it is, because there's 7 or 8 other laws that come into play too. And it's getting all of those to work together, which is how you can create an abundant life for yourself. Yeah. But just being grateful for what you have, and then trying not to just live from that place of lack. And, if you can switch your mindset around that, you'll feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah. Speaking of the law of attraction, how do you feel about like the pop culture, not takeover, we'll call it a takeover, the pop culture takeover of like spirituality and all this conversation around abundance, around spirit, around all these things? Do you think it's good because it makes more people aware of it? Or do you think it's kind of makes it seem more trivial, or a little of A, a little of B?
I think it's a little bit of both. The whole spiritual influencer thing like kind of makes me crazy, because you're giving people really a false sense of hope. And as much as I truly believe in magic and manifestation and, divine timing and all of that, none of that works without aligned action.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There's so much more to it than just saying like, I want my dream house. Well, you know what? Nobody's going to just walk by and hand you a deed to your dream house. You have to do the work to get it. And the universe kind of, I don't want to say reward, because the universe, I don't think punishes you. But when you're doing those aligned action steps, the universe is kind of like, oh, hey, look, they really do want that. And they start giving you more. So for so many people to like pop on the internet, on TikTok or on Instagram or Facebook, and just be like, oh, you can have the life you want just by, just by visualization and manifesting it. There's more to it than that. There's more layers to it.
Right.
But on the flip side, people are aware that they can create their own destinies. So I do
Right.
think it's a fine balance between that.
Yeah, it drives me crazy as well when people are like, just visualize the life that you want to have with no like, okay, yes, visualize it, hold a clear vision. Absolutely. Love on your vision, like make it bigger, make it more elaborate, like really like see yourself in it and walking through it like you
And
can
feel it.
with like your childhood home where you can like sit on your bed and like actually revisit like your
Yep.
childhood home in your head. Same thing with your vision, but then open your eyes and go do something about it. Don't just sit there and think it's gonna like rain on you.
You're not
Forever.
going to get your dream job if you're not applying for jobs or networking or making contact or doing something to draw that into your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a trap that a lot of people get into is they think that they can just visualize with no action behind it.
I know. And and I see it all the time, like, oh, take my course and I'll teach you how to do it. And that may be true. That may be true. But now if you're one of those people who is, you know, feeling like you're worried about your finances right now, spending money on a course, just make sure that it's exactly what you want it to do and, use your discernment in choosing what you're going to spend your money on.
Yeah. And don't set yourself up to fail by like
Exactly.
taking multiple courses that have whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you do too. I have more than one course on my desktop that I'm halfway through and I bought it last year or maybe even the year before that. And I haven't watched like the 15 bonus videos that people promise with their thing that I'm like, okay, I'm never going to watch this.
Yep. I know.
It's an energy leak and it's a money leak and it's a
It
spiritual.
is. It is.
Yeah. So I think,
I agree.
yeah. So in your community, let's go back to your community.
Sure.
It sounds like you don't really let people do that. It sounds like you hold because you're a little bit more practical. You do
I'm a little
magic.
I'm a little bit, and you know what? I don't like wasting money either. Like I don't want to spend my money and not get anything out of it. So that's one of the reasons why, yes, it's a paid membership, but why I include like those 4 events that you get at a minimum every single month. And those events are open to the public too, so anybody can sign up for them, but they are included in your membership. And you know what? Like you can pay month by month. I have no problem with that. See if it's for you, if you like it, that kind of thing. Yeah, but I do, not that I expect people to do anything with it, but part of the fun of the community is the fact that we are all trying to find our spiritual path. So for someone that may be like some kind of shamanic journaling journey, or for somebody else it may be the tarot cards, and for somebody else it may be learning to work with the chakras. Like we all have our own thing that calls to us and interests us. And I just like to be a home base where people can get started from that. I know a lot of people, so if I'm not able to help you with an area that you want to explore, I can find somebody who can.
So the Nebula includes the 4 events. Are they the same day of the week each month? Is it always like the first?
And we have full moon ceremonies. I try to hold the day of the full moon or the day right after. Workshops are always the 3rd Thursday, and the group divination and group readings, which is fun because, everybody, if you show up, you get a reading. So that happens the last Wednesday of the month. That's an evening event at 7 p.m.
Very nice. And that is open to people in your membership and also outside people who want to do a one-time pay-in.
Exactly.
And then the rest of the time in your membership, is it like you have office hours, and what else do you offer? Do you have
I
courses?
have office hours, and then there's a resource library where you can look up a whole bunch of PDFs, and that'll eventually be connected to my YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch any videos as well. There's a virtual labyrinth that you can walk for some internal reflection. I have a
because I can't even picture what that is. Is that like a
Well, it's a picture of a labyrinth. And as you click on each little thing, it'll bring up a prompt for you to sit and reflect on. And then eventually you make it to the center, and then there's a pretty little animated picture in there for you to do like your final reflection. So that's fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let me think what else I have. I have a gratitude center. So you can go in there and you could just sit in the main gratitude room and, do your own practice, or you can walk through the 21-day challenge that's attached to that. And that's a different gratitude prompt every day for 21 days. What else do we have? We are going to add creative nights. So we're going to do some kind of like artwork or creativity thing, but that'll be on the schedule in 2025. And I have a meditation center.
There you go.
So you can come in, you could do the main meditation in like just kind of like a virtual living room, or you can go in and there's an ocean front and a babbling brook and a garden with birds. And you could just go in there and spend 15, 20 minutes. There's audio as well. And you can listen to the waves crashing or the rain falling and just do your own meditation.
That sounds amazing. So how do people join the Nebula?
You can sign up on my website. There's a link and a page right there for the Nebula itself. They can sign up there, or they can click through any of my social media. The links are all in my profiles on my social media as well.
And I will link them all in the bio as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
This website of this podcast. So I'm going to go into our little speed round for everybody to get to know you a little better. It's just fun, easy breezy. Are you a drinker or a tea drinker, or neither?
Both.
Both? Tell me.
I like coffee all morning, but 4 o'clock tea I love also.
Nice. What do you put in your coffee?
In my coffee, I put Coffee Mate Original Creamer.
Oh, that's very specific. Just the Coffee Mate Original Creamer. Exactly.
If it's anything else, I will drink it black.
Do you have a snack that you like to have with your coffee or tea?
No, nothing set. Usually coffee just by itself in the morning, and then tea in the afternoon. If I happen to have a little Hostess cupcake, I might have that with it.
Because I don't usually ask people this, but I feel called to ask because we are both readers. What's your favorite card?
Queen of Wands.
Oh, why?
I just love the Queen of Wands. I love her courage. I love her enthusiasm. I love that she takes no shit. I love that people are drawn to her and she helps them and her courage spreads. And she's just a fabulous one. And then, you know what? When she's not feeling herself, she can be quite the biatch. So that card suits me fine.
That's your personal card.
Yes.
When is your birthday?
My birthday is April 15th.
Oh, that's perfect. That's a fire sign woman.
Exactly.
There you are. That's perfect for you. If you could go back in a time machine and speak to your 30-year-old self, what would you tell her?
I would tell her, don't think you're fat now, just wait.
Oh, that's horrible.
Be happy with the size you are now. You look fantastic. I would also remind her, because that was right in the middle of having children for me. So I would remind her how quickly the years go and to enjoy every single minute, no matter how crazy or what kind of drudgery is coming up that day with laundry and bottles and carpools and all of that. It goes by in the blink of an eye. Enjoy every moment of it.
Absolutely. No one told me that I was gonna wake up and be 53.
Right?
They did.
I'm still shocked. Like I look in the mirror and I'm like, what the heck happened?
Yeah. I mean, they told me. I just chose not to listen.
Exactly.
I didn't really think it was gonna happen.
Right?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song for this era of your life?
No, I am a huge Duran Duran fan, so any of their songs can fit any era of my life at any time.
Me too. I desperately wanted to go. I actually considered getting a ticket for Madison Square Garden Halloween night.
I was thinking of that as well. I was like, I could take the train right up.
But I didn't, and I'm sad I didn't. But seeing online how amazing all the shows were.
Right, I know.
All right, who's your Duran Duran husband?
Oh, Nick Rhodes. I know. It should be Simon, but I don't know.
I'm a John girl, so it's okay.
Okay.
I will tell this story. It's kind of funny, but so when they had their lull in fame in the early 90s, when they had not had their comeback yet, and they were not really doing much of anything.
Yeah.
I saw John Taylor in Tower Books in the Village, and I was like 22 or 23, and followed him around the store like a dork. And then finally he turned around and he was like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, and he was just like, he was so
Propose?
I mean,
Did you get an autograph or anything?
he signed my paycheck. That's all I had on me was my stupid paycheck from my retail job. I was like, "No, my pay stub." And he was like,
That's fantastic. That's a great story.
"Yeah, he's so tall and so polite." And yeah, Duran forever. What's your favorite Duran song?
Oh, I think Save a Prayer. I do like that
Oh,
song.
it's a good
I
one.
do like that one.
It's a good one. I am so grateful you came on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kate.
You're going to build community, and community is so desperately needed. Oh, just for clarification, is your community open to everyone of all genders?
My community is open to everyone. I do not hold women's circles. I just hold circles. Anybody is invited to join. The universe and spirituality knows no gender. So neither do I.
Wonderful.
Everyone is welcome.
Wonderful. I will put all the links in the show notes. I really appreciate you coming on. I didn't know you were a Duranie. That makes me love you even more.
Of course.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Your Magical Midlife. I'm Kate Higgins, your host. You can follow me on Instagram at Your Magical Midlife, and you can check out my offerings on my website, yourmagicalmidlife.com. I offer individual and small group coaching, as well as luxury retreats for women in midlife and beyond who are seekers, dreamers, and unconventional thinkers. You can book a complimentary discovery call in the calendar link in my show notes. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd appreciate it if you left a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with a friend. And I will talk to you next week.